G'day guys, and welcome back to a very special episode of Hayes Homestead. This episode is our 1-year anniversary where we're going to go through everything from the very beginning before we actually started documenting things properly like we do for the channel now. We're actually going to go and cover all of the little projects that we did, all the essential repairs, all the maintenance and things that we had added to make the cottages either livable or more livable. So this is quite an exciting episode, lots to get through, so let's just get on with it. Danny, my wife, actually fell pregnant at the start of 2023, and this was our starting pistol, if you were, to get us into a home that we owned because we were sick of renting and sick of landlords. We finally settled on the house at the end of September and we moved in pretty much straight away. That following Friday after we had moved in, so 7 days later, Danny and I got married, which was a week before our daughter Indy was born. In between buying a new house and a new baby, there was still stuff to be moved from the old house, as well as essential work that needed to be done here at the homestead in order to make it a bit more safe for us to live in. The weekend we moved in, we had these whole house water filter systems fitted, as well as a new pump for the guest cottage. The new boilers came some months later after we discovered that the one working boiler on our house was actually leaking. As mentioned before, the houses are fed by these two giant tanks with this last backup tank just in case we ever need to transfer water into it, although we haven't yet, but it's early days. As well as painting the living room and kitchen back to white, one of the first rooms we did was Indy's nursery. We just went with a classic pink. Another urgent job was to get the chickens and the ducks into a better coop, something with more room. The only problem being this old coop here was so run down and rotten inside and overgrown, I couldn't really do much with it in the state that it was in, so there was nothing else to do but tear it apart, cut all the dead trees down and start again. I had hoped to land this tree just past the old coop, but unfortunately it was so rotten there was no changing its direction. It just went straight on top. I built a little duck pond out of recycled bricks, and the steel I reused off the old coop, so I actually only bought minimal materials. The timber also came from the veggie beds that I had at my old house, and I just recycled the sleepers. Quick lick of paint, recycled some of the ridge capping, and she was starting to look like new again. While the coop was going on, the block was looking very overgrown and I didn't really have a lot of time to manage it properly, but it still needed to get mowed, so mow it I did. As well as mowing, there was hundreds of saplings that needed to get chipped and cut down. Luckily I had some help from the in-laws. My father-in-law loves mowing, but nothing quite beats getting on the zero turn. Man, he loves that thing. Absolutely loves it. I just wanna move me with your loving, yeah. Oh, let's make a movie. With the coop looking a bit more hospitable, it was time to move on to other things. Although plans are to get this finished when I do the veggie bed, which is a project coming up quite soon. It was quite warm last summer, so aircon was needed, so we had that fitted too. And then before you know it, it was Christmas. And preparing that food in that tiny kitchen was really difficult. So there was only one thing for it: kitchen reno. I'd already built this kitchen island when we moved in because there was no bench space. So I knocked this together out of some units and some laminated timber. The pantry was stuffed on all sides. It just really wasn't very efficient. But then tragedy struck. I managed to snap my ankle jumping off a log, and that was me in a cast. So I did what any bloke would do in this situation. I went tractor shopping. Originally we weren't going to replace the stove until much later on, but there was a sale on and we thought, why not just do it now while we were fitting everything. Tiling had to get done, and I had about 40 odd doors to make, so needless to say, it was quite a task. As summer drew to a close, there were still jobs that really needed to get done around the property to try and maintain it, like pulling out the fences and starting to open up some of the paddocks so I can get the machinery in and out for clearing. As the temperature dropped, it became apparent that I really needed to get some firewood done, so I took that opportunity to get rid of some trees that had hanging around that were easy targets for me to chop up. So if the attire wasn't obvious enough, the temperature has actually started to drop now. Again, a bit sick of throwing firewood into the log burner every couple of hours, so because it's the end of June, end of financial year sales, we got a mad deal on a low-pi Liberty, I think it's called. So it's quite a large log burner. It says it burns for 12 hours, so I guess we will find out. Plan had been to come out here and finish doing the rest of this firewood this morning, but the weather's had other ideas. I'm not sure if you can tell by the clouds behind me, but they're moving at quite a speed, and the system that's coming in is enormous, which obviously means that this driveway is going to get rooted again. Another reason why we've really got to get on to it. We have some problems with feral pigs, and this is what they do to the pasture. They dig their snout in and just turn it over looking for grubs and things in the roots of the grass. And as you can see, it's not just one patch. It goes on. All of my paddocks have all been smashed by these pigs. They've ripped all the grass up.
Now I know what you're thinking. The driveway is very nice, but why are you driving around? And where's the rest of the bloody kitchen? Patience. You get to it.
So the added bench space and the extra cupboard space has made the whole place a lot more flexible. The butler's pantry has been a game changer. I think having all this extra bench space down here, it makes doing certain prep jobs a lot easier, especially if I'm using machines, because it's nice to just put them on the bench, set them off and close the door. Nice and quiet when I'm watching TV. The layout of the kitchen is obviously very much designed around the way that I work in the kitchen. So I have the sink right behind me with one of these really cool flexible taps. And then I've got the stove and the oven, bench space, great view of the TV over there, bin just to my left. It all makes sense to me. You may have noticed a couple of little quirks about the kitchen, including the kickboards not being done, like this door and these knobs. Well, this is because at 11.5 months my daughter found her feet, and needless to say things had to get on fronts very quickly because she either pulled things out or put things in. It wasn't quite safe. So I'll just pull it off and paint it later. You can't have a butler's pantry without having a plumbed in fridge. Oops. you may have noticed these extra deep doorways. Well, that was because when the house was extended years ago, they left a brick wall in and gyprocked over some of it. But that does mean it leaves enough space for a very decent Murphy door, because let's face it, who doesn't want a kitchen with a Murphy door leading to more kitchen? So that'll be a project coming up on the channel at some point. So if you've enjoyed this video, then please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, following along with all of our adventures, because there are so many projects happening, and now that the weather's warming up, there is just lots going on every day. So I will be trying to post the videos a lot more frequently, and I'll hope to get them down to once a week. I've already got 3 episodes already filmed, and they're currently being edited as well, so I have no shortage of jobs and projects that I'd like to share with you guys. So thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.